Play soccer!
All right, soccer fans, welcome in. FC Tucson hosting Real Salt Lake here on match day number 2 of the Desert Diamond Cup. Trey Fitzgerald, Brian Dunseth here with you on the MLS YouTube channel, RealSaltLake.com and KUTV.com. And Dunny, let's go through the lineups real quickly before kickoff. A team that probably not a lot of people watching and listening know much about, FC Tucson of the PDL.
Yeah, they're coming off a 6-0 loss in that first game against the Seattle Sounders. 8 changes overall. Reyna, Miller, Pineda, Dubose across the back line. Michael Kafari, who spent some time with Sporting Kansas City in the midfield, alongside Dom Papa. You're going to have Vance Rookwood on that right-hand side, the speedster, number 23. Clark Phillips over on the left, and then Marquise Brooks up top.
For Jeff Cassar and Real Salt Lake, he's going with essentially his first choice 11. We saw these guys for the final 30 minutes in the 1-0 win Wednesday night over the New England Revolution. Why don't you take us through that back to front?
Yeah, Nick Armando in goal. DeMar Phillips, the new addition over on that left-hand side. Chris Schuler alongside Jamison Olave. Tony Beltran at right back. Kyle Beckerman will sit in front alongside Luis Gil. You'll have Javier Morales at the top of that triangle. Olmes Garcia out wide on the left-hand side. Sebastian Jaime out wide on the right. And then up top, Alvaro Sabria.
Yeah, with Nick Raimondo, Luis Gil joining camp a week ago today after their conclusion with U.S. Soccer. You've got DeMar Phillips getting his first big run out. Jamison Olave back. A lot of fans very happy what they saw out of that back line the other night. DeMar Phillips, the general, coming over from Norway as we go to kickoff. Olmes Garcia, Dunny, somebody you commented that looks bigger and maybe even a little more confident than he has when he first arrived in the United States at this tournament in Tucson almost exactly 2 years ago from his native Colombia.
Yeah, in a very similar situation that we saw Joao Plata coming into the season last year. Robbie Finley out a year ago recovering from the injury. This time is Joao Plata with the early injury in preseason with the 5th metatarsal. This is a chance for Olmes Garcia to prove that he is worthy of that starting spot in the front 3.
Possession kind of knocking back and forth here in the first 90 seconds of the match. Everybody for RSL has gotten a touch, maybe with the exception of Sebastian Jaime and Alvaro Sabarillo. And Dunny, that's a combination that RSL fans are going to expect a lot of, both with Joao Plata out and certainly when he comes back in May.
Well, with the tweak in the formation, having that athletic front 3, people will forget that the addition of DeMar Phillips down this left-hand side gives them a hybrid type of left back. Then you have the speed, recovery ability, and the athleticism of Jamison Olave alongside the size and strength of Chris Schuler. This Real Salt Lake team, the knock maybe the last 2 years was, are they too old, number 1? Number 2, has teams maybe figured them out? Well, this is a new tweak. This system, this formation, gets the most amount of athleticism in the attack that they have on their roster.
Give away at midfield, Gill and Phillips with a little mix-up. FC Tucson on the counter, but Nick Raimondo is there to easily corral and squelch the potential threat. Raimondo with the win against Panama for the U.S. a couple weeks ago, and then suffering his first and only loss as the goalkeeper, a record down in Chile on January 28th. Dunny, his all-time record with the national team, 10 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws.
Well, a couple things to keep an eye on with this new look and this shape is that you're going to see the 2 center backs spread out wide. You're going to see Beltran and DeMar Phillips, the 2 outside backs, push as high as possible, and then Kyle Beckerman will sit.
Here's Tucson. Quick shot. Beckerman applying pressure, easily saved by Nick Raimondo near post.
That's the perfect example, Trey, of what Jeff Cassar was talking about, kind of learning the intricacies of this formation. The trickle-down effect. If a mistake is made, where's the cover? How does that balance look? How does Real Salt Lake deal with turnovers in that midfield third?
Yeah, Luis Gil carrying the ball forward. Javier Morales standing in the center circle wondering why he wasn't getting the ball. And here's a quick 1-2. Sabo trying to find Morales in the right center channel. Goes just over the end line for an RSL goal kick. And Dunny, one of my big questions for you is with Javier Morales, oftentimes in the past, as teams maybe figured out that 4-4-2, he would drift wide to avoid getting literally the hack-a-Javi treatment that we've seen so much. how does this 4-3-3 maybe help him protect himself and maybe see more time on the ball?
Well, it creates space. Now you're looking at Luis Gill and Kyle Beckerman in that space as opposed to having that diamond formation. So it takes one player out of the equation. In this type of formation, you're going to want to see Olmes Garcia and Sebastian Jaime tucking inside. With that simple movement, that'll allow more space, more freedom for Javier Morales to operate in those spaces, find those little cutting balls to his feet, but also bring in both outside backs in overlapping situations.
As we've seen, Javier Morales with time on the ball is a dangerous, dangerous thing, coming off perhaps his 2 best seasons in Major League Soccer. Here's RSL building out of the back now in the 5th minute. Schuler to Olmes to Beckerman, looking for Phillips on the overlap, and it's out for an RSL corner.
Well, that's the perfect example of what I was just talking about. Olmes Garcia comes in, checks to the ball, tucks inside, quickly gets the ball off his feet, finds Kyle Beckerman, and that overlapping run, the speed, the athleticism of newly signed DeMar Phillips, finds him perfectly weighted inside the 18-yard box, leads to a corner kick opportunity for Real Salt Lake.
Here's Javi lining it up. RSL, 6 men in the box. Morales far post. Jaime can't get a head onto it. Squirts out to Gill. He goes central. Dumps it in the corner to Beckerman on the right side. Beckerman with the cross, looking for Saborio, knocked away by the Tucson defender. Ball still in play. RSL challenging. Foul called against the FC Tucson player, Brooks Marquis. And RSL have the restart just inside the FC Tucson defensive half.
Yeah, and I was talking to FC Tucson head coach Rick Shanks before the match, and he said, the frustrating part for these players is FC Tucson is starting to come together. It's a team that's not really as familiar with each other as they should be in a tournament like this. That being said, what they're trying to accomplish is to simplify the game, keep the passing lanes in front of them, and try to utilize the speed up top.
Here's Marquis on the break, going one-on-one with Olave. Olave still with plenty of speed to get back and shut it down. Schuler comes over, knocks the ball away, and RSL again off to the races. Morales at midfield lines it up, looking for Saborio, and a wind-blown pass goes awry. And here's FC Tucson with its first extended possession of the match. 8th minute, cross in from wide on the left side, and DeMar Phillips just safely nods the ball over the end line. Doesn't want to create any confusion there with Mr. Raimondo, and it'll be an FC Tucson corner.
Casinos is your place to play. We have the hottest games around. Experience our fantastic rewards and the great deals.
Here's Evans Omani Chima with the corner. FC Tucson moving the pieces around. Here it is, near post. Knocked down by Luis Gill, but right back to the taker. And it'll be another corner for Evans Omani Chima.
One thing Real Salt Lake has really been working on, just focusing on the defensive set-piece situations, service out wide corner kick opportunities.
There's another corner, battle in the air. Saborio gets onto it, nods it to Morales. RSL trying to get the 4-on-3 break here. Ball gets caught under Jaime's feet, turned over. FC Tucson man Devontae DuBose carrying the ball down the right side, calmly, gently, nicely. Passes it off, but Chris Schuler is there to break up the pass to Brooks Marquis.
Yeah, and a great job right there from Luis Gill. He's got the physical challenge, but he recognizes not to commit the foul that Chris Schuler comes across, doubles up. This is really an ideal opponent, Trey, in a situation like this. You finally have your strongest possible lineup together for the first time in this new system, this new shape, and now it's a chance to work out the kinks.
9th minute, Javier Morales trying to thread the needle to Sebastian Jaime, knocked away by the FC Tucson center back Nick Miller. It'll be an RSL throw, quickly taken by Phillips to Morales. He carries it in about 30 yards from goal. Looking for goal, Olmes Garcia over the top. A little bit of a punch down shot slash pass, easily corralled by Pat Poblete, the FC Tucson goalkeeper, as we approach the 10th minute here at the Desert Diamond Cup. Dunny, with RSL 3 points the other night. If they can get 3 more points tonight, they play Kansas City on Wednesday, and with the result there would certainly be in the first, second place match 1 week from tonight, next Saturday at 8 o'clock p.m.
Yeah, and Trey, I think one of the things we saw in that first 60 minutes against New England was that in this shape, this new identity for Real Salt Lake, is without the most experience in the team, sometimes things can get difficult, and you can get yourself pinned back deep. And I thought in that match, even though New England had a good portion of possession in that first 45 minutes, RSL did a good job shutting down passing lanes, trying to keep the game in front of them as much as possible. And for young guys, when things aren't going right, grinding out a result psychologically is a good hurdle to overcome.
11th minute corner from Javi Morales. He's got James and Olave, but it's knocked away. Dunny, that corner created by some nice interplay with Luis Gil and Olmes Garcia, as we've seen Garcia and Jaime switch sides on the top of that 4-3-3.
You know, and that's a part of this attacking front three. Sabo's going to stay central as much as possible because with his size, his presence, he's going to command the attention of two center backs. But with Sebastian Jaime and Olmes Garcia, with their athleticism, their ability to tuck inside, what it is going to give those two players, or Joao Plata in particular, an opportunity to dip inside, force the center backs and outside backs if they want to chase into the midfield, but also force the defensive midfielders to start turning around and facing, looking to double up if possible. This formation in an ideal world will create a lot of havoc defensively for an opponent's shape. Offensively for Real Salt Lake, there's going to be a ton of time, a ton of space, a lot of movement off the ball.
Tony Beltran stepping up for the interception, does not quite get there, and FC Tucson continues their foray down the left flank. Big cross, again, nodded away by Phillips at the far post. It'll be a third FC Tucson corner.
Yeah, that's a good ball whipped in from a deep spot, and it's always difficult for a back four when you're kind of facing your goalkeeper right near the top of the 6-yard box to make the right decision. Second time we've seen DeMar Phillips just nudge that ball out for a corner kick, not take any risks in the box.
Here's the corner in the middle of the box, knotted away by Luis Gil. And Dunny, at some point we're going to have to talk about what a spring he's had with the U.S. camp. Luis Gil just looks physically a little bigger, a little more confident. Here's RSL on the break, Sebastian Jaime on the right side. He's got options, surveys those, tries to find Javi Morales, knocked away by the defender. Garcia challenges for the 50-50 ball. Another one between Morales and the keeper. Back to Phillips. Gil. And Gil get whistled for the foul there, committed against Dom Papa, the FC Tucson captain.
Yeah, and a great job from the FC Tucson goalkeeper, commanding his box, recognizing with the ball, it's still a little bit windy out here in Tucson as the sun's still setting. That's a great job with the initial punch, and then the secondary punch. Olmes Garcia and Sebastian Jaime very, very active to start this match.
14th minute here, probably 13th actually, Dunny, but here at the Keno North Grandstand. Wednesday night we'll be in the main stadium with a slightly different setup, and again, if RSL continues to rack up results in this tournament, that's where we'll be next Saturday night, 1 week from tonight, as RSL stringing together 3 or 4 passes in tight space down the right flank, springing Tony Beltran. He finds Sebastian Jaime, challenges there. RSL retains possession. Jaime back to Morales. Morales switching fields back to Chris Schuler. Schuler to Gil. Gil centrally to Beckerman as they kind of overlap in space. Beckerman to Morales, back to Kyle. Kyle looking for Olmes, and the pass is intercepted and cleared somewhat out of danger by FC Tucson.
Yeah, Real Salt Lake doing a very good job, not only with the initial challenge after they turn the ball over, but that secondary ball in the midfield third. Tony Beltran extremely active, both offensively and defensively on that right-hand side.
Here's Gil finding Morales. Morales looking for the overlapping Beltran. He cuts it back in on the cross, and it's knocked out for an RSL corner. That's the kind of aggressive overlap I think we're going to see a lot of, especially as long as RSL's playing this 4-3-3 formation.
Yeah, that's the 5th time by my count that I've seen an outside back be rewarded for a hard overlapping wide run.
14th minute, another corner. There's Javi, punched away by the keeper. Knotted away, but RSL pinning him in. DeMar Phillips trying to line up his left foot. Knocked away by the imposing FC Tucson defender Michael Kafari. Back to Ramondo. Ramondo and Olave trying to build out of the back here. Ramondo switches it to Beltran. He finds Beckerman. Beckerman lays it off to Javi, who dribbles back into the center circle. Javi finds Kyle. Kyle dribbles forward down the right side. He's taken down from the side on a nice tackle. No whistle.
Yeah, good solid tackle from Don Papa, kind of the veteran leader of this group. 27 years of age and kind of the hard man in front of the back four for FC Tucson.
RSL retains possession. Kyle with a nice cross in there. Cleared out, but Beltran plays it to Schuler, then to Javi. A little confusion there between Javi and Kyle, and FC Tucson trying to get out of their own end.
Trey, FC Tucson playing the exact same formation today that Real Salt Lake is playing, and you can see kind of the difference. Offensively, Real Salt Lake really imposing themselves. Defensively, FC Tucson at times finding themselves pinned in, both wide players getting sucked back, but still with the speed and athleticism causing a little bit of havoc on the counterattack opportunities.
Devontae DeBose for Tucson carries it all the way down the left side, or the right side, but DeMar Phillips steals the ball. Bad pass, though, and the FC Tucson captain lines it up. That's Don Papa lining it up from about 28 yards and slices it wide right. RSL with the restart here. 16 minutes in. We are scoreless here in Tucson. RSL with a 1-0 win Wednesday night for the 3 points on match day 1. FC Tucson losing 6-0 to Seattle. Bit of a rough game. I believe that was their first game in this 4-2-3-1 formation, or 4-3-3, whatever you want to call it, as Craig Weibel says, getting stuck in those semantics about tactics and formation. He's got no time for it. He wants to get a best 11 on the field.
And, of course, Craig Weibel is a student of the Dominic Kinnear school of don't put a label on anything. But, you know, with this formation, again, you're starting to see the movement, the ability, and the interchanging. You know, we come into a preseason like this, and yes, getting Nick Ramondo and Luis Gil back a little bit later, less than ideal when you're kind of introducing a new shape, a new identity. But what this will do, and for anyone that's kind of hung up on the idea that maybe RSL is getting away from the diamond, they're always going to have the diamond formation in their back pocket. But this particular shape, this particular formation, affords Real Salt Lake to get their most athletic players on the field in offensive shapes. And on top of that, this lineup in particular allows a Luis Gil to kind of play side to side, shoulder to shoulder with Kyle Beckerman, but really be that connector between Beckerman and Javier Morales. And if Javier Morales can't get forward or needs a break for a second, the ability to flip-flop just happened a second ago. Javier just screamed at Luis and said, "Go." And that gave Luis the opportunity, that freedom to step in underneath Saborio and take that secondary run. So if there was ever an opportunity, an ideal world for RSL to get all of the players that they want to get onto the field to give them offensively the best opportunity to create offensive chances, this is the type of shape that is in an ideal scenario.
So, Dunny, talk about that shape from a defensive standpoint. I mean, obviously, this preseason is going to be key for finding the seams, identifying the runs, and just being able to read your teammates' minds on when to stay, when to go. But from a defensive standpoint, what are the differences?
Well, there's a few differences. One, Real Salt Lake under Chris Wingert and Nat Borchers had an incredible amount of professionalism and guys that understood the system, guys that tactically their shape was fantastic. But by losing them, what you do gain is Jamison Olave's size, strength, and athleticism alongside Chris Schuler. And then you have DeMar Phillips. DeMar Phillips is very quickly going to become not only a fan favorite for Real Salt Lake, but in my opinion, could possibly be the sleeper acquisition in Major League Soccer. I talked to Aiden Brown, who was my former teammate on the Olympic team, spent some time. Aiden Brown, New England Revolution, Colorado Rapids, Tampa Bay Mutiny for a little while. He played in Allison with this man, DeMar Phillips. And he said, MLS fans, RSL fans, have no idea what they're about to see because his ability to play as a left back, as a hybrid left midfielder, and a wing back, He's going to be up and down the flank all the time. He's going to give you that defensive presence, that defensive bite, but offensively, he's going to give you those overlapping abilities with quality service, with quality left foot.
All right, Dunny, 20 minutes in. We saw some nice interplay just a moment ago between Phillips, Garcia, Morales. Phillips ultimately dispossessed. Jeff Cassar not happy that an earlier call was not made on what he thought was a foul against Javier Morales. Javi's back on the field. He looks to be up and moving around okay as FC Tucson trying to go the other way. A turnover at midfield, and Javi quickly plays it off to Saborio. Sabo with the cross. He's got Beckerman far post. Beckerman nods it, looking for Olmes Garcia, and it's defended well there by FC Tucson to get the ball out of danger.
Yeah, I just started talking about Luis Gil interchanging with Javier Morales. After that quick turnover, as Kyle Beckerman blocked that entry ball, quickly got on his horse, pulled into that far post, was rewarded by the run with Saborio. But Luis Gil dropped, and Luis Gil stayed, and he quickly recognized kind of the intricacies in this new shape.
When you have those three guys in midfield, you want two going forward with the three, but you need one back to shield and defend with in front of.
Well, and the first time in a long time, Real Salt Lake is able to be in a recovery.
Beckerman, right?
Well, and also be in a recovery situation with Phillips in particular.
Great ball there by Morales through to Phillips. Kind of got caught under his feet, but he retains possession. Morales trying to switch fields, plays it back to Olave. He's got some decisions. Garcia checks back, finds Luis Gil. Gil's trying to split the runners, dribbles three people, but the ball squirts away to the Tucson keeper.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there is a transition through possession against Real Salt Lake, now you've got Jamison Olave and DeBar Phillips in terms of recovery ability. That's something that RSL hasn't had for a couple seasons.
Absolutely. A lot of speed in the back. 23rd minute. Bouncing ball. Who wants it? Phillips eventually tracks it down, nods it back to Ramondo. Ramondo's been pretty unoccupied tonight.
Well, sometimes, Trey, those are the most difficult games for a goalkeeper.
Stay engaged.
Yep, staying engaged, staying proactive, coming off your line.
Olave chests it down. Bit of a bad pass. Tony Beltran tries to keep it in. Nods off his head, and it's out for an FC Tucson throw right there at midfield. 0-0, 23rd minute.
Trey, one of the things I'm interested in seeing from opponents this year is the amount of entry balls on the ground into the feet of forwards, because you talk about opposing central defenders, and Jamison Olave and Chris Schuler. I would never want to be a player checking back to the ball and knowing that those two big center backs are stalking you from behind, as we've seen tonight from FC Tucson.
And you almost saw a stellar entry pass there as the ball went from Ramondo to Morales back to Schuler, and he had a streaking Alvaro Saborio. And if that ball is 6 inches in the other direction, Sabo's in alone on the keeper. Just a new, different look, a new, different kind of seam and a run that we're not used to seeing out of that diamond.
Yeah, one of the difficulties right now for FC Tucson is trying to get a semblance of possession and finding a rhythm. And they've been chasing so much in this first 24 minutes is they kind of find themselves in a situation when they finally do recover the ball, it's quickly looking to spring the top athletic players and get the ball up over the top and see if you can hit on the transition.
Schuler with plenty of time and space on the ball. Gil over the top, looking for Sebastian Jaime, but the FC Tucson keeper quick off his line to snuff out that chance. Pretty lackadaisical faith in the offside flag going up there, Dunny, by Olave and Schuler, but they were right. Referee, it's preseason for the linesman too, so we were glad to see him on point there. Here comes RSL. Jaime over the top, looking for Sabo. Instead, Javi runs onto a left-footed volley, goes wide right. Javi gives Sebastian Jaime the thumbs up. That's some pretty creative stuff there from the two Argentines. 25th minute, 0-0. It's an FC Tucson restart. RSL with the bulk of the chances. FC Tucson's had a few corner kicks that were defended rather harmlessly by RSL. But RSL really hasn't done much to test Pat Poblete, the Tucson keeper.
You can hear Jeff Cassar not too happy on the last play. Michael Kafari clipping the ankles of Luis Gill.
Morales Phillips finds Jaime far post, and the ball goes just wide right. But Dunny, that's 3 quick one-touch passes in succession. Very good stuff.
Yeah, you're starting to see a glimpse of what RSL in this shape is capable of doing, and it's quick possession, triangle passes, overlapping runs from DeMar Phillips, rewarding his hard work, his efforts, streaking down this left-hand side, and a first-time ball across the penalty spot. And for Sebastian Jaime, if we're being honest, he's got to finish that. He gets there a little bit late. He looks to get that final touch. Can't redirect it on the inside of that near post. But again, it looks great. Just looking for that final product. And I know these are the type of games where you get the kinks out, but this is also the type of games where you build your confidence.
Well, it's something to build on. It is great to see so much interplay combination, a lot of activity. It's when you're, in many ways, Dunny, attacking with 6, almost 8 if you get those overlapping backs that we'll continue to talk so much about. Here's Luis Gill just inside the center circle. Over to Beckerman. Beckerman back to Olave as RSL resets.
And FC Tucson's doing a very, very good job forcing everything wide. Talked to the head coach, Rick Shantz, and he said, you know, if we can push them outside, we want to keep them outside as much as possible. We'll try to deal with the service from wide spaces. Last thing we want is Real Salt Lake keeping simple possession and finding the feet of Saborio.
Beltran dispossesses Vance Rockwood's ball, squirts over to Olave. Olave to Schuler, back to Olave. Schuler's got some time and space over here on the left side. He's probably not used to getting forward the ball at his feet in that area, but here he is, lays it off to Javier. Javier over the top to Phillips. He cuts in. He's got Garcia to his left. Instead, DeMar goes in. High pass. Jaime rises up and essentially may have taken a good chance away from Luis Gill, who was all alone just behind him.
Yeah, and that's the 5th strong run we've seen down this left-hand side the first 28 minutes of this match from DeMar Phillips. And if he's not keeping that simple possession, he's looking for early balls across, finding dangerous runs. And again, sleeper acquisition in Major League Soccer this offseason.
Dunny, after him playing 5 years in Norway with Allisons, excuse me, but being 31 years old, he's got a ton of experience, 60-plus caps with the Jamaican national team, scored 12 goals, actually, which is pretty high for a defender. Is age at all a concern with DeMar?
No, not with that speed, that athleticism. He's got a physical presence. He's actually not as big as he looks in pictures. But his ability to read the game, having that experience of those 5 years in Norway with Allison and still having international duty and commitments with Jamaica, he's a true professional. And I think he's enough of a grizzled type of veteran that he's going to settle in. And usually with foreign players, it takes a little bit, a month, 2, to kind of settle in. But I think he's shown very quickly how able he is to adapt to this group, to this formation. And the guys love him. He is seamlessly transitioned into a starting role with this group.
28th minute corner kick. Javier Morales looking for Saborio, punched away by the keeper, eventually knocked out by Chris Schuler for a Tucson throw-in. Certainly having a couple former Jamaican national teammates in Tyrone Marshall and Andy Williams on the RSL technical staff will make DeMar feel right at home in Salt Lake. There's Phillips defending the throw, knocking it out. It'll be another FC Tucson throw at midfield. Baldomero Toledo, the official again tonight, trying to get his reps in before the MLS season starts here in a couple weeks.
Well, Jeff Cassar, very, very active. Every time that the ball is dead, He's constantly communicating little tidbits of information of what he wants to see, and constantly reminding and holding players accountable for their shape, both with the ball and without the ball.
Half hour in the books. Would expect this first group to have roughly another 30 minutes together here against the host club, FC Tucson, making the jump into USL this year. Been a PDL side for several years. This is RSL's 4th consecutive year at this tournament. Ball goes back and forth, eventually off Tony Beltran at midfield far side for a Tucson throw as they get ready to bring in a guy that went to your college, Dunny, Garrett Losey, number 13.
Yeah, Garrett Losey, a player that potentially, not trying to get too far ahead, but a potential Real Monarchs player at some point. But he's got speed, he's got athleticism, he's got a quick step over, a quick shot, and did very, very well in his 2 years down at Cal State Fullerton.
Here's Olmes Garcia tracking onto the ball, going deep into the left corner. There's a one-time cross, finds Saborio. Saborio unable to bring it down with his right foot, and Tucson with 6 behind the ball goes the other way. Chris Schuler squelches that threat, nutmegs number 20, Devontae DeBose, finds Sabo. Sabo to Kyle, Kyle to Javi. Javi's got Jaime. He tries to get a run around Michael Kafari. Back to Beckerman. Beckerman trying to clip it in there. There's Luis Gill with a shot. Save by Pat Poblete. I thought Kyle might try to pull the trigger there, but Gill ended up with a better opportunity. Saved nicely by the Tucson keeper. Hamas and Alave tracks down the bounding ball, heads it to Ramondo, and RSL coming back again in another attacking wave out of the back. 31 minutes in the books. Here's Javi. He's got time and space. Finds Sabo. Sabo keeps going wide right to Tony Beltran. His cross deflected down. And that was another promising opportunity. RSL keeps the ball in its own half. Phillips to Gill. Gill to Morales. Morales wide right to Beltran. Beltran looking for options. Finds Sabo, a little two-man game. Back to Beltran to Saborio. Unable to get a clean shot off. DeMar Phillips carries it forward but turns the ball over. And here comes Evans Omanichima. Nothing doing for FC Tucson. 33rd minute. Beckerman and Morales lay the ball off for each other in the center circle. Back to Beckerman, to Morales. Morales dribbling through. He's all the way into the 12-yard spot. Shot snuffed out by the defender and then corralled by the goalkeeper.
A great individual technique right there from Javier Morales. Really slaloms through a few different midfielders right to the top of the 18-yard box. And as the goalkeeper comes out, stays big. He looks to beat that last defender.
Ooh.
Good job from FC Tucson, not allowing Javier Morales to get that clean look on frame.
Hamas and Alave slipped just before the ball came in. He had that FC Tucson forward about to jump over him, but he recovered nicely.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little bit of a different look for Real Salt Lake's back line. You know, they're used to having that vocal voice in Nat Borchers who tactically was always looking to take those right spots because he didn't have that type of recovery speed. With Hamas and Alave, it's going to be a little bit looser. He's got an insane ability to recover when he's beat. Doesn't always tactically get in the right spots, but this is a big year for Chris Schuler, looking for him to stay healthy, looking for him to develop, and he's going to have to be that vocal leader between those two center backs.
Gill plays it into a penetrating run by Kyle Beckerman, but his pass dribbles instead to the keeper. Olmes Garcia has been very, very active in the 60 minutes of this tournament that he's seen so far, Dunny, sensing that he's got an opportunity to have a big year in 2015. There's Garcia winning the ball away from FC Tucson. Plays it over to Javi. Javi
what a great ball.
Keeps it going right. He's got Beltran. Beltran, time and space on the wing, plays it into Jaime on the side of the box, and it's knocked away. Thought it might be an RSL corner, but the ball spins in. Jaime battles. Eventually it will be an RSL corner kick here in the 34th minute as the substitution we referenced earlier, Garrett Losay coming in for Vance Rockwood. So there's Garrett Losay coming in, looking for somebody to mark. He settles on Luis Gil as Javi lines up. The corner kick near post, kind of deflected away, finds it to Beckerman. Beckerman out back wide to Morales. He settles, gets a second chance, looking for the head of Beckerman. Knocked away. Gill and Phillips have a chance here to keep Tucson's D on their heels. Phillips pulls the trigger from about 28 yards out, and it slices wide left off of the General's left foot. And that is DeMar Phillips' nickname, the General, as we approach the 36th minute here on a beautiful Saturday night, Tucson, Arizona, Desert Diamond Cup. RSL 0, FC Tucson 0. RSL with the bulk of the possession, but unable to put anything in the back of the net. Tucson on the break. And the flag goes up. Kind of a 4-on-3 there, Dunning. It could have been a dangerous chance, but the guy, number 14, was just a step offside.
Yeah, Marquise Brooks is just sitting on the wrong side of the back line. I have been impressed with the communication so far between Schuler and Jamison Olave in terms of holding the line, knowing that the two outside backs are sitting in front. So when there's pressure on the ball, they can step and recognize how to pull Brooks into an offside position.
Nice little opportunity there between Gil Morales and eventually Sebastian Jaime. He goes down awkwardly as his shot is defensed and out for an RSL corner. Likely the 11th or 12th corner of the game for RSL. Be nice for Olave or Schuler to get on the end of this one. Instead, it might have been Olave towards goal. He and Saborio both in position and knocked out over the bar by a Tucson defender. It'll be another RSL corner. When you've got Schuler, Olave, Saborio on these set pieces, you got to like your chances. Javier's second corner, not quite finding what he was looking for, knocked away for an RSL throw.
Yeah, once again, FC Tucson, the moment they gain possession, it's just kind of an aimless ball to release pressure up top.
Sabo with a nice run to try to get back on side and get to that ball, but unable to get control. Keeper rushes, throws it out of bounds here. DeMar Phillips holding his right hamstring as he prepares for this throw here. 37th minute. Phillips to Gill. Gill creates space for himself with a deft move. Tucson can't quite get it out of their own end.
No, we saw it a few minutes ago from Javier Morales, a blind switch. This time, Luis Gil opens up his hips in a sweet little touch right around the defender, retains that possession.
Tucson trying to play out of the back. A little bit of desperation here. Keeper over the top. Knocked down by Beltran. Gill battling at midfield. Tucson keeps it. Looks like it'll be Abdoulaye Mansali coming in for Phillips here momentarily. Ball over the top. Gets in between Olave and Schuler. Olave battles. Ramondo takes it down.
All right, now the coaching staff trying to get DeMar Phillips to sit down on the ground and force the referee just to blow the whistle. Real Salt Lake looking to knock the ball out. Yeah, it'll be a straight swap. It'll be Abdoulaye Mansali who'll come in and very similar in terms of athleticism, strength, ability to get up and down this left-hand flank.
Yeah, hopefully this isn't serious. I think DeMar is smart enough, veteran enough to feel a little pinch and say, okay, I'm going to shut it down for tonight. As he approaches the fourth officials table with the trainer, Tyson Pace. Abdoulaye Mansali getting ready to come in, throwing his credit card size shin guards on.
In a situation like this, definitely not worth risking anything. DeMar Phillips, get him down, get him some therapy immediately, ice that thing up, and try to minimize any potential risk or damage going forward.
Yeah, Phillips coming back to the bench, stretching out his right leg. RSL playing with 10 momentarily. Beltran tries to go up the right side. Ball's knocked away on a slide tackle, and RSL will take the throw before Mansali can enter. Morales, far side. He's got Gill behind him. Beckerman over to Gill. Gill up to Jaime. His cross shut down. Sorry, that was Beltran. And FC Tucson's got a little break opportunity here as they go 2-on-2. They're getting numbers in the attack. It's just Olave and Schuler in the back. The three-man game, nice move. And then Kyle Beckerman checks back to knock the ball away for an FC Tucson corner on certainly their most dangerous break of the night. Jeff Kassar, livid.
Jeff Kassar, he's trying to get Abdoulaye Mansali onto the field, and one of the difficulties in preseason is that the fourth official doesn't have the ability to get a hold of Baldomero Toledo.
Right. Baldomero coming over to explain to Jeff probably just that. There's no communication.
What are you doing? Relax, it's preseason. And what Jeff's saying is I had Abdoulaye Mansali ready to come in, and he never even took a look. And again, referees in this situation, they don't have the same communication system that they do during Major League Soccer matches. They don't have the button, not able to kind of beep him, let him know that a substitution's ready. Substitution needs to be made.
Tucson corner, 41st minute, knotted up, straight at Raimondo on his line. And RSL gets out of danger as several RSL coaches are working the officiating crew here at the Keno North Grandstand.
Yeah, not a good night to be a fourth official.
So Beckerman will build out of the back, plays it left to Schuler. He carries it forward, no pressure. Mansali checking back. Garcia checking way back. It's really odd in this new formation, Dunny, to see guys like Garcia and Jaime essentially level or in the same triangle as a Schuler or a Olave or Beltran.
This shape is going to afford Real Salt Lake a few things. It's going to afford them to be incredibly fluid in terms of their movement off the ball. In terms of getting players on the field, it's going to get their most attacking, athletic players. And you look back, say with the 4-4-2 with the Diamond, you usually had Saborio and Plata. And the substitution patterns was probably going to be Olmes Garcia and Sebastian Jaime coming off the bench. And then you would have to think about a Sebastian Velasquez, a Luke Mulholland, all of those different players. Well, right now, Real Salt Lake has the front three. And you think about the addition of Joao Plata cutting inside as well. It's a dangerous look for RSL.
Big cross by Jaime. Knotted down by Garcia. Initial shot saved, and Saborio with the goal here in the 44th minute for RSL. And that is a quick and deadly counter, Dunny, that we've not seen in the repertoire. But to see, again, this many one-time, one-touch passes, and again, that was broken up at one point by a Tucson defender, but Saborio there to clean up the mess and give RSL the lead.
And it's unfortunate for FC Tucson defensively. They've been very good at trying to get the game in front of them, and in the dying minutes of this first half to concede this late. But again, you're catching quick snapshots, quick little glimpses of what this shape looks like and the potential that it has as these players continue to evolve and understand each other. Again, playing, movement, off the ball, and the secondary follow-up sitting on the back post. This year you're going to have more players around the 18-yard box inside the top of the 6. Simple follow-up opportunities like that. You're starting to get an idea of the potential that this group has with this new look.
Chris Schuler finding a little trouble there with Marquise Brooks, but the shot is wide. Dunny, RSL forward Alvaro Saborio, the club's all-time leading scorer, telling La Nacion, which is the big national newspaper in Costa Rica, that he thinks RSL has every bit the chance to win MLS Cup this year in 2015. And Sabo has come into camp this year with a great attitude. He's so happy to be healthy and playing with his team as he looks back at 2014 as somewhat of a lost year. A lost year in which he still scored 12 goals. Again, the RSL bench working the near linesman and the fourth official. Schuler livid that the flag stayed down. It'll be a Tucson throw here in the corner. Baldomero Toledo now coming over to talk to Jeff. He's telling him that's final warning for Jeff Cassar from Baldomero Toledo. He doesn't want to hear anymore.
Well, the referee on the near side, that time missing out on an opportunity to raise the flag, is attacking player on the wrong side of the back line, and that's what you're hearing from Chris Schuler, really frustrated with the fact that call was missed, and they were in a numbers up. FC Tucson was in a numbers up situation at the top of the 18-yard box.
Tucson trying to play the two-man game in the near corner. Ball rolls out, and it'll be Nick Raimondo with the goal kick to restart for RSL as we enter first half stoppage time. Can RSL get another before the break? Gill and Mansali trying to track down the loose ball. Morales does. Sabo checks back, knocks it over to Beckerman. He goes over the top on the right. Windswept ball, can't get to Beltran. FC Tucson with some nice anticipatory interceptions here. And there's the final whistle of the first half. RSL up 1-0 on an Alvaro Saborio goal, knocking home the save of a pinpoint Sebastian Jaime shot that came off of really two very nice field switch one-time passes.
Yeah, a real positive first 45 minutes with this quote-unquote starting 11 for Real Salt Lake. Defensively, just need to be aware of the transition game, how quickly an opponent can go up and over. Just need to make sure they have the right shape, the right balance when they do turn that ball over in the midfield third. But overall, a solid 45 minutes.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with the second half kick here in Tucson. RSL 1, FC Tucson 0. We'll be back in about 13 minutes.
Just from the ground or something. Let's put it on the ground. playing FC Tucson is
Real Salt Lake.
Real Salt Lake. Thank you. Okay, almost on to bubble balance now. That's correct, yeah.
Matt had it at 41st. I thought it was a little later, but
Ugly. People look like this. Look, it looks ugly.
Let me just adjust the arms now, real quick. But yeah, I'm up. Lower
Bud Light, the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. Come in and try a Culver's Butterburger. Butterburgers are made with 100% U.S. beef, seared on a hot grill to lock in the flavor, and served up on a lightly buttered toasted bun. Welcome to Delicious.
Okay, two's all set.
You have choices when researching and selecting your healthcare services. Look for CARF accreditation when comparing providers. CARF accreditation is earned by providers that show commitment to service quality and focus on the satisfaction of the people they serve. To find CARF accredited providers, visit us online at cars.org.
This worked okay over here.
The 2015 Desert Diamond Cup is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment, Southern Arizona's entertainment destination. Come live to the Diamond Center as comedian Angela Johnson on March 7th and award-winning multi-platinum country star Casey Lawrence on March
All right, here we are back, soccer fans. FC Tucson hosting Real Salt Lake, Keno North Grandstand. RSL up 1-0 thanks to an Alvaro Saborio goal late in the first half. FC Tucson making a goalkeeper change. Keegan Rogers in net for Rick Shance's team. No changes for RSL, although we did see Abdoulaye Mansali go in at left back for DeMar Phillips. With about 5 minutes left in the half, DeMar Phillips appeared to have tweaked his right hamstring. We've not gotten an update from the trainers. We'll have that on RealSaltLake.com later tonight. RSL building out of the back. Abdoulaye Mansali, entry pass knocked away. He'll take the throw. Quick little heel flick from Sabo, looking for Olmes Garcia, knocked away. Tony Beltran commits the foul in the center circle. Dunny, your quick impressions on what you saw from RSL in that first half?
Well, I was impressed with the movement off the ball. I thought that the team looked pretty comfortable. Minimal amount of mistakes made in possession, in transition. But I think the big thing for RSL fans to focus on is defensively, what does the shape look like when the ball's turned over, and how quickly opponents try to go up and over the top and look for the individual marking breakdowns from RSL's back four.
Olave knocks ball away. Morales, Saborio, Gill, Jaime. Jaime looking for Javi. He's got him. Javi wide right to Garcia. It's RSL coming in waves. Saborio screaming for the ball. Garcia tries to thread it through to Jaime. It's knocked away, and it'll be an FC Tucson throw here in the 47th minute.
Well, two changes. One in the midfield, Derek Boggs, the number 8 for FC Tucson. Up top, Ian Ramos replaces Marquise Brooks.
Morales to Beckerman. Beckerman goes wide left for an on-rushing Abdoulaye Mansali. He's there. Sabo in space. Checks back to him. Sabo, square ball to Javi, over the top, trying to clip it into Garcia. And the Tucson keeper is there. Olave gets caught up. Schuler out of position, and it's a break for the FC Tucson captain. He's in alone on Raimondo. With the equalizer is number 2, Dom Papa. Dom Papa, counterattack. Both RSL center backs got caught extremely high, and it's 1-1. FC Tucson with their first goal of the tournament early second half after losing 6-0 to Seattle on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and a tactical adjustment with Dom Papa, who played as a holding defensive midfielder in that first 45 minutes. This time playing underneath the number 7, Ian Ramos. And that's what I was talking about, the transition game, the ability of an opponent against this type of shape, and how quickly, when Hamas Olave steps up into the midfield, Chris Schuler gets caught with the secondary run about 15 yards away from him on the opposite side of his shoulder. A recovery run from Schuler trying to cut down the space. Raimondo trying to delay, but give credit to the number 2 captain, Dom Papa. Very calm, cool, collected with a very, very solid finish.
48th minute goal for FC Tucson. Saborio checks the ball down on a promising attack there for RSL. It's knocked away. It'll be another corner kick for Javier Morales as RSL coming in waves. And Dunny, one of the most impressive things is seeing how quickly this team can get out of the back to midfield and into dangerous attacking positions. Morales almost going for the Olympico there. Beckerman tracks it down in the corner. He'll go one-on-one, clips around the defender, moves into the box. His entry pass knocked away. Tucson gets the ball out of danger. Beltran on the wing. Here comes number 7, Ian Ramos. Both players get caught up in some of these streamers from the Cactus Pricks fan club here at FC Tucson. Jaime going over the top to Garcia. Flag stays down, but Garcia can't quite run onto the ball that got a little out of his control on that break.
A great recovery run a second ago from Tony Beltran. Speeds for speed, but not only does Beltran win his individual challenge, he keeps possession by just stepping over the ball. Hard cut, hard chop with the outside of his right foot.
Here's Beckerman, 30 yards from goal, trying to settle. Lays it off to Gill. Morales flicks on to Jaime. Morales gets it back in the middle. And Luis Gill cannot get good wood from the spot on what could have nearly been an empty net. Great save there by the Tucson keeper on the weak Gill shot.
Yeah, and good movement from Javier Morales. Flares out to this right-hand side, gets his head up, finds the streaking run of Luis Gill, and Gill just scuffs his opportunity inside the box and almost snuck it past the goalkeeper, who was already going down to his right-hand side. Good chance generated. Unfortunate for Gill that he couldn't get it as cleanly as he wanted.
RSL continuing to move down the field, moving quickly on a series of one-time passes. Morales, Gill, Beltran in the triangle now here on the right side. Garcia checks to Morales. Mansali overlaps. He gets onto the pass. Has some space. Saborio, left-footed shot from 15, saved by the Tucson keeper.
That's right. A lot of talk this preseason with Luis Gill rejoining the group is that it looks as if he's grown 2 inches, but he's definitely put on, I'd say, a good 5 pounds of just pure muscle.
Both he and Garcia just look larger in the chest, more muscular.
Well, you think about Luis Gill and over time how he's developed as a player, and coming in as a 16-year-old to where he is now as an established player in the league and a player that gets consistent looks now from Jurgen Klinsmann. His technical ability in terms of developing young attacking players is one that not only Real Salt Lake has to figure out how to continue to develop, but Jurgen Klinsmann as well, especially with this next phase of Olympic qualifying being pushed into the fall of this year as opposed to spring of 2016.
Here's RSL at it again. Sebastian Jaime earlier with a nice cut inside. Morales, Gill, Beckerman all seeing a lot of the ball as you'd expect in the midfield. Preponderance of overlapping runs from the 3 forwards. Here's Beltran getting forward. He's taken down, and it'll be a free kick from just outside the box for Real Salt Lake.
Well, Sebastian Pineda, the big number 6 center backs, wasn't happy with it, but he steps in front of Tony Beltran as Beltran looks for that slicing little run just outside the 18-yard box. Foul committed. Now set piece opportunity to look for quality, consistent service and good hard runs from Real Salt Lake, looking to pick each other's defenders while still trying to get just to the top of that 6-yard box.
53rd minute, Morales 2 yards outside the box on the right side. He clips it far post. Alave and Schuler were both there. Gill runs onto it, but another save, the third of the half by Keegan Rogers.
Yeah, I think Luis Gill just waiting for that ball to settle, waiting for it to pop out a few more inches as he was completely unmarked right at the corner of the 6-yard box.
You know, Schuler rose up high and almost got it. I don't know if it surprised Luis that it got through, maybe. Nothing doing for RSL is another attack going forward. Morales, Gill, Beckerman heads it forward, looking for Saborio. The ball pops up. Still not cleared. Morales settles, knocked away. Eventually the loose ball collected by Rogers, and Tucson will try to get out of their own end here. Tie game, 1-1. 55th minute. A windy Tucson spring evening. Gill from the center circle finds Morales. Morales trying to find Garcia, cutting through. Wires got crossed there a little bit. But again, Dunny, we're just seeing such different spacing, timing, runs up the seams.
That's a very good job, Losi.
Schuler can't quite dispossess the FC Tucson captain.
Gary Losi spent some time at BYU, also Cal State Fullerton. Doing a great job. Doing a fantastic job for FC Tucson. not only regaining possession down that right-hand side, but showing his speed, his athleticism, and then finding the feet of the goal scorer, Dom Papa, at full strength.
Confusion in the back, but Olave eventually settles the ball that he had so much trouble possessing earlier. No harm. Here's RSL down the left wing. Mansali playing it to Garcia, and he'll be out for a goal kick. 55th minute. RSL starting to get a little frustrated, I think, this first group. They know they've only got a few minutes left before the mass substitutions appear here as we get closer to the 60th minute. The biggest question for me, Dunny, will be, will Nick Raimondo stay for the full 90? As Schuler collides with number 7, Ian Ramos. Quick restart for Tucson. Their shot from the right side of the box is high and wide. It'll be an RSL goal kick here in the 57th minute. RSL 1, FC Tucson 1.
Yeah, as of right now, it looks like Nick Raimondo is going to play significant minutes in this match, with Jeff Antonella, Lalo Fernandez both still wearing their sweats, neither of them warming up significantly.
Here's Beckerman building out of the back. Finds Jaime at midfield. Sebastian Jaime played in this 4-3-3 as a winger in Chile his last couple years. Sabo with the shot deflected. It was going far post. RSL keeps it in the Tucson defensive third. Beltran to Morales. Morales with a beautiful move to create some space for himself. To Gill over the top looking for Sabo, but the Tucson keeper runs onto it to parry the ball out of danger. Olmes Garcia wins the ball back. Plays it to Morales. Morales wide left to Mansali. His cross far post looking for Jaime, headed away by Tucson. They still can't quite get it out of their own third. Tony Beltran checks back to Schuler as RSL resets the attack here in the 58th minute. There's Javi Morales, long diagonal. Jaime lets it go deep into the corner for Beltran. Beltran cuts it back to Jaime at the top of the box. Across, and there's Sabo with goal number 2 of the night for the Costa Rican international. Just a beautiful cross there from Tony Beltran to Sebastian Jaime, finding Alvaro Saborio far post. RSL regains the lead, 2-1, 58th minute.
And again, good overlapping movement, wide play, good relationship between Beltran and Sebastian Jaime. And Alvaro Saborio rightly coming over and high-fiving Sebastian Jaime. Quality service, and for RSL fans, this is a great sign. Seeing Alvaro Saborio finding the back of the net consistently. Last year, 8 goals, 2 assists in just 13 starts. He looks fit, he looks sharp, he looks engaged, and that's exactly what Jeff Cassar and this RSL team needs heading into the 2015 season.
Yeah, he'll certainly be one of the many, many CONCACAF players in Major League Soccer appearing in the Gold Cup this summer. RSL could have as many as 5 players in the Gold Cup, playing for the U.S., Costa Rica, Jamaica. FC Tucson on the counter, dispossessed by Luis Gil, and now RSL with a little 4-on-3 break. Morales out wide to Jaime, back into Javier. Just a little too much, and Tucson clears from danger. Olave trying to pen Tucson in. Garcia can't quite get it. As the ball rolls back, Nick Raimondo preparing to generate another RSL foray. Jamison Olave deciphering his options. Checks it through to Morales. He one-times it to Beltran. Beltran down the right flank. Back to Morales. Morales plays it through to Sabo. A little bad touch as he and Beckerman were trying to play the dummy game. Jaime Morales to Jaime down the right. He's got Gill in his area. Jaime back to Morales at the corner of the box, back to Beltran. Beltran inside to Garcia, back to Olave, over to Schuler. RSL trying to switch the point of attack. They do. Mansali on the left side. Back to Schuler. Morales lets it roll through to Beltran. He's got some space here. Beltran plays it off right to Jaime. He goes far post. Mansali trying to run onto it. Can't get there. Cross in from Garcia. Olave trying to run onto the ball that had squirted out at the top of the box. Eventually, it's an RSL throw in here in the 61st minute. Beltran, quick throw back to Schuler. As RSL's 10 substitutes approach the fourth officials table. Olave wide right to Schuler, inside to Gill. Gill to Morales. He's got Beltran on the right. Beltran over to Javi in the corner. Well defended by Tucson. Javi can't quite get it free, and it eventually goes off of Beltran for an FC Tucson throw, as we'll see the subs here. Some of the guys coming in, Dunny, include Elias Vasquez, Fito Ovalle, Devin Sandoval, Sebastian Saucedo, Jordan Allen, Fanny Cavita. We will certainly, looks like Emery Welshman coming in as well for RSL. Luke Mulholland will reset the formation, the lineup. Nick Raimondo stays in. Abdoulaye Mansali stays in. Lucas Baldin, also another rookie for RSL, is in the mix.
Yeah, and Trey, we're going to see Jordan Allen slide in and be that right back. We'll have Cavita and Vasquez centrally. Mansali over on the left-hand side. Mulholland, Welshman, Maldine, Ovalle in the midfield. Saucedo will be over on that left-hand side, and then Devin Sandoval up top. Keep an eye on Luke Mulholland. Interested to see how he plays underneath Devin Sandoval.
Well, that number 10 position is where he played in Tampa Bay before coming to RSL a year ago.
Yeah, Baldin and Ovalle will play together as a pair, kind of how Beckerman and Luis Gill played in front of the back four for Real Salt Lake in the second half.
Long ball over the top. Jordan Allen playing right back.
Yep.
Tucson with a nice cross, but nobody's there. Sebastian Saucedo tracking back to apply pressure. Tucson retaining possession. Cross near post, knocked away by Elias Vasquez, the Guatemalan center back. 20-plus caps for that national team. He was the captain of the U20s that did so well for Guatemala a couple years ago.
Yeah, once again, Jordan Allen showing his ability to play in pretty much every position for Real Salt Lake. We saw him out wide left in that first game against the New England Revolution. Now we see him in a right back situation in this second half.
Corner for Tucson, in swinger. Goes to the spot, no one's there, squirts away left. Welshman out to try to snuff the chance, and he knocks it out for another Tucson corner. Emery Welshman, Dunny, first round pick by Toronto FC a couple years ago. Made one appearance in Major League Soccer. Here's the corner, headed on, but cleared out eventually by Fanny Cavita. Tucson retains possession, bodies flying everywhere. Confusion in the box, but some nice defending there by Lucas Baldin to get the ball out of danger. Devin Sandoval checks back, collects in the center circle, wide left to Bofo Saucedo, the Park City native. And he calms everything down, checks it back to Mansali, over to Baldin. Baldin finds Mulholland. And his attempt to free Welshman into space down the right side intercepted.
And Trey, I think psychologically this is a big opportunity for some of these players. Yes, it's only 30 minutes in the second half, but After what we saw in that first 60 minutes against New England, they found themselves pinned back a little too deep. Very, very interested to see with this young group, with a few established veterans, how they deal with this scenario and how they impose themselves offensively. How can they match what we just saw from RSL's quote-unquote first squad?
65th minute, great interception here by Luke Mulholland. He's in alone on the keeper. What will he do? He shoots. It is saved. And the Tucson keeper lets it roll out of bounds. It'll be an RSL throw. Great effort there by Luke Mulholland.
Yeah, again, Keegan Rogers has been fantastic in this second half for FC Tucson. Unfortunately for Luke Mulholland, he did everything right until that last touch. He felt the pressure coming in from the recovering defender and just couldn't pick a side, just couldn't get to the right or the left of the goalkeeper.
RSL getting numbers into the attack. Jordan Allen takes the throw, but he's offside on the ball being played back to him, and it'll be a Tucson free kick from deep in their own half. 66th minute, RSL up 2-1 on the strength of an Alvaro Saborio brace. Tucson had to equalize temporarily in the early second half. The game was tied for about 14 minutes.
Great header one right there from Vito Avalle. Does a fantastic job winning the individual challenge, but knocking it down and finding the feet of Lucas Baldin.
Mansali trying to get back and squelch this attack as Tucson moves into the attacking third. Vasquez also checking back. Ball squirts out to Saucedo. He's run over, and eventually the foul is called. Fito Valle, Dunny, great story of a native Salt Lake kid. I think he played in Layton, actually, La Roca Football Club, before coming down to the academy here in Casa Grande, Arizona, about an hour north of Tucson.
Yeah, and I personally have a connection with Fito's father, Adolfo, who met back in 2000 when he came from Chile and was looking to get attached with Major League Soccer and back with the New England Revolution. And after all these years, a couple years ago, reconnected with him in Salt Lake City, was completely surprised to get to know him once again. But Fito with a fantastic opportunity, really close to making that Chilean under-20 squad for the South American Championship. But an incredibly talented young man with a bright, bright future. And now it's just about finding his feet at this level and how quickly he can make an impact on the field and kind of find that rhythm within the group.
68th minute, RSL up 2-1. Luke Mulholland trying to lead the charge. His pass wide left knocked out. It'll be a quick throw by Abdoulaye Mansali. Plays it back to Bofo Saucedo. Mulholland, Baldin, Ovalle. Back to Baldin. Looking for Jordan Allen. He's clipped inside the box, and that's a penalty kick for RSL. It's second in as many games. Great run there by Jordan Allen.
Well, the number 26, Kirkland, with an unnecessary challenge. He's going to try to argue his case and say the foul was committed outside the box, but I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Anytime you give the referee an opportunity to make a decision, a guy like Baldomero Toledo will not be afraid. Unnecessary challenge, silly foul committed, and Devin Sandoval with the opportunity to get his second goal of this tournament, much like he did the first against the New England Revolution from the spot.
69th minute, Devin Sandoval stepping to the spot on a PK earned by Jordan Allen. The Tucson keeper, Keegan Rogers, has had a great second half, Dunny. But he can't save the PK. Big Dev with his second goal of the tournament, both on PKs.
Yeah, and that's calm, cool, collected. Devin Sandoval goes right down the middle. Goalkeeper goes down to his right-hand side. He thought he picked the right side, but Sandoval recognized that slight little hitch was enough time to see that the goalkeeper was going down, and he just tucked it away right down. Simple stroke down the middle.
RSL up 3-1 against the host FC Tucson here. About 20 minutes left. Trio of subs now being made by Rick Shantz and FC Tucson. And we're back. 3-1. RSL up over the hosts, FC Tucson. opportunity for some of the younger RSL players to audition either for a place on the senior club or for the newly established Real Monarchs, which will kick off third week of March with a game at Portland. They go to LA, and then the home opener for the Monarchs Wednesday, April 8th at Rio Tinto Stadium, where the USL club will play its inaugural season. Baldin, Ovalle, back to Baldin. He's got Allen on the right. Instead, penetrating ball to Mulholland in the middle. Flips it wide left to Ansali. Ansali's got Saucedo. Back to Ovalle.
Yeah, Mansali's been strong. He's been solid since coming in and replacing the injured DeMar Phillips late in that first half.
Ovalle with the skip pass to Jordan Allen. Allen and Mulholland look to have something going, but Luke's pass spins away, and he is encouraged by Jeff Cassar to not stop moving. Baldin, Mulholland can't keep it inbounds. It'll be another FC Tucson throw. Ovalle challenging. It's an RSL throw. Nice defensive play by the youngster. Jordan Allen with the throw. Looks at Fanny Kavita, another Utah product. Fanny started 82 consecutive games for Clemson, was the captain there his junior and senior year. Promising young center back for RSL.
Yeah, and Trey, it's just the beginning. It really is just the beginning for the development of Utah-born and bred players. And you think about what this development academy has meant, the introduction of Real Monarchs into the Salt Lake area, the ability to get players meaningful games. You go back and you think about a Luis Gil when he was 16 years old, and if he could have had 30 games with Real Monarchs, how much more quickly he would have developed as a player. That's the same opportunities for a kid like Fito Ovalle, Kavita, Saucedo, all of these younger players. This is their chance to get meaningful games, high-level competition, something to play for where it's not a demotion.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity to learn a system. It's an opportunity to compete for minutes, to compete for the 18, compete for the 11. That's what all the coaches feel obviously sharpens and hones your skills, your edges, is that competitive
and
nature.
It's the start, right? It's the start of a funnel system that leads from the youth level directly into the first team with an identity, with a philosophy, with understanding what it takes week in, week out to put yourself in a situation to step on the field with guys like Kyle Beckerman and Nick Raimondo.
73rd minute, RSL up 3-1. 2 goals by Alvaro Saborio. 1 goal penalty kick just moments ago by Devin Sandoval. Jordan Allen earning that PK with a nice run into the right side of the box. Here's Emery Welshman trying to win the ball here on the right side for RSL. Can't. FC Tucson trying to go back. Luke Mulholland with the foul. And it'll remain Tucson ball. Nick Raimondo will go the full 90 tonight, presumably, much like Jeff Attinella did the other night, to go along with 21 other field players. We're going to get a look here momentarily, but from Boyd Aquanu, the RSL draft pick out of North Carolina, 27th overall in the Super Draft last month. Mulholland with the cross near post, intercepted. Tucson can't quite get out of their own end. Rick Shantz asking his team to cut down on the negative passes. Got to think Aquano will probably go in for Mansali. Maybe Allen switches sides, and Boyd will take his right back position.
Yeah, and again, it'll show how versatile that Jordan Allen is.
Luke Mulholland, great defensive work to win the ball. Squares it to Sandoval. Sandoval to Saucedo. And it's knocked away for an RSL corner kick. As the pressure from RSL, the constant pressure, Dunny, seems to have FC Tucson just wilting a bit here in the last 15 minutes of the game.
Well, you have to think that the fitness is going to be an issue for FC Tucson in a tournament like this, especially coming off the 6-0 loss a few nights ago against the Seattle Sounders. A lot of fresh legs, a lot of opportunities right now for Real Salt Lake.
Mulholland with the corner. He's looking for Kavita. It's knotted away by Tucson. Can they clear it from danger? They do. Jordan Allen tracks the ball down just inside midfield. Jeff Cassar urging his side to play simple. Allen goes back to Ramondo. Ramondo wide left to Monsali. Monsali heads it up to Saucedo. Bofo, a bit of a magician on the ball, finds Ovalle in the center circle. He plays it back to Vasquez.
This is great competition for this group of players on the field right now for Real Salt Lake. You think about that youthful exuberance, definitely the technical ability, but a physical game like this forces them to figure out the right way to use their bodies, what the right angles look like when you're in your individual 1v1 situations. Sometimes you got to outsmart, not just outmuscle what your opponent's doing.
Vasquez, long diagonal ball over the top, looking for Welshman. Welshman eventually whistled for the foul as he tried to track that down. And the substitution that we anticipated, Dunny, here in the 77th minute, Boyd Aquanu coming on, Abdoulaye Monsali coming off. And the only question is, it's no longer a question, Boyd Aquanu going to get 13 minutes here at left back as Jordan Allen stays wide right across that back four.
Subbing in for Real Salt Lake, number 6.
Allen wins the restart. Be an RSL throw eventually. Boyd Aquanu on the left, Jordan Allen on the right, Fanny, Kavita, and Elias Vasquez in the middle. Ovalle, Baldin, and Mulholland in the midfield. Welshman, Sandoval, Saucedo across the top of a 4-3-3. RSL leading 3-1, 79th minute here at FC Tucson. And Dunny, RSL looks to be on track for 6 points from 2 games. Tucson dribbles out of bounds. It'll be a RSL throw. '79th minute. Allen, nice throw. Devin Sandoval wins the ball. He's got a 1-on-3 break, checks back.
Very good job. Very good job from Devin Sandoval. Does a fantastic job recognizing where the pressures come, spins himself away. Then when he realizes he's in a 1v3 situation, spins himself out of pressure again, sidesteps and slaloms a few defenders, and makes the right pass to keep simple possession.
Here's Ovalle. Trying to go over the top to Jordan Allen. Does, down the right side.
Ball.
Very nice ball. Allen, 1-on-2. Plays it inside, back to Ovalle. Dribbles 3 players, centering pass to Welshman. This guy's back to the goal, tries to go around the right, gets dispossessed.
Yeah, you'd like to see Emery Welshman just play that combination pass. If he can't get the shot off, look to continue to combine with Ovalle in the box.
Allen recovers for RSL, plays it centrally to Baldin. Baldin to Mulholland. Checks it wide left. Boyd Aquanu gets his first touch. Making the overlapping run as Bofo Saucedo cuts inside. Sandoval. Mulholland. Great ball by Sandoval. Mulholland's whistled as being just a hair offside on that nice run. 81st minute. RSL up 3-1. Applying pressure as Tucson struggling a little bit here to get out of their own end. Some nice passing from FC Tucson. Trying to organize this attack. Saucedo, Baldin applying pressure. The cross comes in. Headed away by Kavita with force. And it's going to be a Tucson corner. Nice play there by Kavita to recognize the threat. Ten minutes left, Dunny. RSL up 3-1. Appreciate you joining us here on MLS Soccer's YouTube channel, RealSaltLake.com or KUTV.com, however you may be watching. The Tucson corner headed away by Luke Mulholland for RSL, but not completely out of danger. Another entry pass. Great save there by Nick Raimondo near post as FC Tucson trying to pull back one to get within one, but
really
the
just a
wall of
hope.
the Wasatch.
Yeah, it's just a hopeful ball drifted in, and give credit to Ian Ramos. Little side volley, uncorks the hips, keeps his shot on frame, forces Raimondo down to his left.
Devin Sandoval threading the ball, finds Jordan Allen. He goes far post to Welshman. He can't keep it in, but RSL still in a dangerous position. Ball's
Jordan
knocked out.
Allen, fantastic run down the right-hand side, rewarded with his run. And as he just clips that ball to the back post, Welshman kind of resets his run, looks to hit it with the outside of his right foot, just can't get enough on it to force the goalkeeper to make the save.
RSL going to make one more sub here, Dunny, in the 82nd minute, we'll call it. Ricardo Velasco, the Tucson native, spent some time at the Casa Grande Academy. He will get a chance to represent his new club, former FC Tucson player. Recently from the University of Louisville. He comes in for Bofo Saucedo, who put in 20 very good minutes.
Now subbing in for Real Salt Lake, number 20, former FC Tucson striker, Ricardo Velasco.
Ricardo Velasco getting a nice round of applause here from the local fans after his name is announced by the PA announcer. Boy to Kwanu, wide left, checks back into Vasquez. He finds Avaye. Threads a ball into Welshman, knocked away. Avaye wins the header. Tucson eventually settles. Some nice attacking work here by Tucson, but Fanny Kavita showing a little burst of speed, Dunny. Get onto that ball. It's RSL now looking to get out of its own corner here. Eventually cleared from danger. Sandoval applying pressure. One player we have not seen in either of these first two games, Dunny, is the Brazilian midfielder Wellington Peckert. He's known as Pekka. And he suffered a little bit of a hip flexor injury on Tuesday of this week. So we may see him get some time in the final two games of the Desert Diamond Cup. Tucson getting forward, stringing some passes together against the young Real Salt Lake team. Knocked away by Luke Mulholland, but it'll be a Tucson throw here in the 84th minute. Long throw by Tucson. Ball goes out of bounds harmlessly. It'll be an RSL goal kick. RSL up 3-1 here in the 84th minute. 2 goals by Alvaro Saborio in the 41st and 58th minutes. FC Tucson had temporarily equalized in the 48th, and then RSL coming to its third goal on a Devin Sandoval penalty kick created by a nice Jordan Allen run into the box where he was taken down. Devin Sandoval, third-year player out of New Mexico, with the game-winning PK in the 6th minute Wednesday night against New England. Duplicating that feat here tonight, at least from the penalty spot. Saborio would go down as being credited with the game-winning goal if this current scoreline holds. Jordan Allen down after getting mixed up a little bit with number 26, Danny Kirkland for FC Tucson. Gets up gingerly as Elias Vasquez prepares for the restart. Vasquez instead lets Fanny Cavita take it. He plays back to Raimondo. He goes wide left looking for Aquanu. Ball squirts away. Ricardo Velasco had a chance there. Be an RSL throw. Aquanu back to Vasquez. Velasco, Ovalle. Sorry, that's Baldine. Baldine to Velasco. Mulholland tries to go wide right. His pass, not enough on it for Welshman. Tucson coming the other way. The attempted clear by the Tucson keeper goes wide left. It'll be an RSL throw here in the 87th minute. RSL up 3-1. Jordan Allen. Throw into Sandoval. Back to the goal. Comes out wide right, turns and faces, looking for the cross, dribbles down the end line. Ball still alive. Eventually dispossessed, and it'll be Tucson trying to go the other way. Allen and Mulholland keep them hemmed in. Mulholland with some beautiful work in the attacking third, but then just can't hold on. And then it is out for an FC Tucson goal kick here in the 88th minute. RSL up 3-1. Lots of new young faces getting some work. Some of them playing some of these positions presumably for the first time. At least in preseason game action. Aquanu nodding it back to the safety of Nick Raimondo. Raimondo with a quick punt, looking for Sandoval.
What a ball.
Goes to Welshman.
What an unbelievable ball from Nick Raimondo. There's been very few players, very few goalkeepers in the history of this league that can hit a 60-yard sidewinder on a dime. You think about Tony Miola, Matt Reese, but Nick Raimondo, the consistency and accuracy is incredible.
Great layoff from Velasco's chest to Welshman off of that throw-in from Jordan Allen, and it's knocked away. It'll be an RSL corner kick, probably the 19th of the evening for this club. Lucas Baldine lining it up. Rookie out of South Florida. Looked pretty good in his 60 minutes Wednesday night against New England. Goes far post. Looking for Welshman. Headed away. As Cavita sprints back to get in position. Settled by Ovalle. Aquanu plays wide right to Vasquez. Baldine near touch.
Good ball.
Looking far for Sandoval. Nice ball. Velasco was there for the secondary touch, but knocked away by Tucson for another RSL corner kick. This time it'll be Luke Mulholland from the left side. '89th minute, Luke Mulholland with the corner. RSL with the 3-1 lead. That ball snared nicely by Keegan Rogers, who Dunny might be the FC Tucson man of the second half. He's been called upon to keep the scoreline relatively close.
Yeah, that's the cruel part about, this game. You look at how good he's been and how comfortable he's been with his decision making, and yet he still conceded a couple goals in this second half.
Vasquez out of the back to Aquanu. Aquanu up to Velasco. Back to Aquanu. Looking for Mulholland. He nods it on to Sandoval. Back to Mulholland. Tucson eventually tracks it down. Welshman applying pressure to the keeper. Nice distribution from him. Tucson has it at midfield, trying to move forward.
All right, great job right there from Garrett Losey once again, recognizing time and space, spins himself out of pressure, and then finds the feet of the attacking player.
Velasco getting mixed up at midfield with Ian Ramos and eventually goes out for a Tucson throw. As we enter second half stoppage time, Aquanu beating the attacker to the ball, nods it back to Ramondo. There's Baldomero Toledo with the final whistle. RSL improves to 2-0 here in the Desert Diamond Cup. Full 6 points from 2 matches against New England Revolution and against the host FC Tucson. Your final thoughts, Donnie, on what we saw from the first group, including 2 goals from Alvaro Saborio, as well as the second group, played the final 30 with a PK from Devin Sandoval.
Yeah, I think it was a solid performance from both groups. A little bit more difficult for the final 30 minutes with the amount of changes being made, but I thought it was a good response from the second group. For the first group, I thought it was a very, very impressive showing. I thought we saw an incredible amount of positives defensively. Still little things to work on, and that's to be expected at this stage of preseason. But another good win to put underneath their belts from a psychological perspective. And now they head into these final 2 matches with something to play for, something to continue to prove not only to themselves but to the fans back home.
All right, RSL fans, we'll see you back here on all these various web streams. Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, we'll be in the main stadium against Sporting Kansas City, a team that we have a checkered preseason history with. We'll see how that all works out. Read RealSaltLake.com for more on all preview and information. We'll have highlights, interviews, and a ton of sound from the locker room here tonight as we sign off from Tucson, Arizona. RSL 3, FC Tucson 1. Thanks for watching Desert Diamond Cup. Yeah, but I don't know where Matt is. Like,